Hi guys, welcome to this video in which we are going to discuss why is Indian economy slowing down. India's GDP growth rate in 2014 was 7.4%, and as per the last estimations, India's GDP growth rate, that is the rate at which Indian economy is growing, that has come down substantially to 5%. And this slowdown is continuing from last few quarters. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss why is this happening? Why is India's economy constantly slowing down? It is very important as when India's economy is going to slow down, it is going to impact the agricultural sector, the manufacturing sector, as well as the services sector. Every Indian is going to bear the impact of this slowdown. Another big question is whether India is heading towards a recession. What is recession? Recession basically, in very simple definition, it means economic slowdown that is going on from a few quarters. That means a quarter is a 3 monthly period. So for 6 months, for 9 months, when the economy is constantly slowing down, that is the GDP growth rate is coming down constantly, we call that a recession. So is India heading towards recession, which is a very serious issue? Now this video will tell you what are the signs of India's economic slowdown. Why are we calling this state of affairs in the economy a slowdown, which the government of India disagrees. So government of India has said that 5% GDP growth is not slowdown. But on the other hand, Niti Aayog, they have said that India is going through its worst economic crisis since independence. So this makes this video very important, and it is very important for all the UPSC aspirants, state public service aspirants, bank PO, SSC aspirants, and all other government exam aspirants to know that why is India's economy slowing down? What are the steps that have been taken by Government of India, by RBI, and other financial institutions, and what can be done? So all these things we are going to discuss in this video series. Starting, this video has been presented by LaunchPad IAS, and this is going to be helpful for UPSC, SPSC, Bank PO, SSC, RBI, and NABARD exam aspirants to be particular. Now, first of all, we need to discuss what are the signs of economic slowdown. On what basis we are saying this GDP growth rate a slowdown? As I told you, Government of India has said that this is not at all a slowdown. Obviously, the government that is in power, they never accept that the economy is going through bad times. But let us see on the basis of some data that relates to certain international institutions, that relates to certain industrial segments. On the basis of this data, we will form an opinion whether India's economy is slowing down or not. So starting with the discussion, signs of an economic slowdown. First of all, World Bank, you all know about World Bank, International Monetary Fund, RBI, Asian Development Bank. These are the international financial institutions. Now moving on, CRISIL, Fitch. These are the credit rating agencies. A credit rating agency is an agency that gives ratings to companies as well as countries on the basis of their capacity to pay back their debt. So CRISIL, Fitch, and these international institutions, they have all lowered the growth forecast of India's economy for the financial year 2020. So all these institutions and rating agencies, they make a forecast. They predict that at what rate Indian economy and other countries' economy is expected to grow for the next financial year. So that the forecast that these agencies had given earlier, they have reduced this forecast for the financial year 2020. That is the first sign of economic slowdown. Now they have cited some reasons for this slowdown that is going to happen for financial year 2020. What are these reasons? Global slowdown. That means there is a slowdown in global economy. There are many reasons for that. US-China tariff war. US and China, they are imposing tariffs on each other's imports. That is one reason. There is a Brexit that is happening. Britain is going to leave European Union. All these incidents, all these events are creating a global slowdown. And obviously, as India is part of the global economy, Indian economy is consequently facing a slowdown. Next is weak monsoon. So why is there a slowdown if the monsoon is weak? Because India's agriculture, on which more than 50% of Indians depend, This agriculture is heavily dependent on rain because our irrigation infrastructures are very weak. So when there is a weak monsoon, the growth in agricultural sector that comes down. When growth in agricultural sector comes down, the purchasing power of this 50+% of Indians that comes down, and as a result, the overall economy it goes through a slowdown. Next is domestic troubles. There are many domestic troubles in Indian economy. For example, we have just implemented GST, which is a good step, but there is a shock as a result of GST. Before that, we had imposed on Indian citizens demonetization. So 86% of the currency from Indian economy was taken out. So all these reasons are cited as some of the reasons by all these agencies. Next sign of economic slowdown is slower growth in core industry segments. Now, what is this core industry segments? There are 8 core industries in India. Now, how we are saying these 8 industries are the core industries? There is an index of industrial production calculated by Central Statistics Organization. Now, this CSO or Central Statistical Organization, it works under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So we are talking about the government ministry and the data that has been calculated by a government organization. Now, index of industrial production is calculated by CSO, that is Central Statistical Organization, for 8 core segments of India's industry. Now, these 8 segments are very important for Indian economy, specifically for the manufacturing sector. So we calculate the growth rate in these 8 segments to understand whether India's manufacturing is slowing down or it is growing at a very decent pace. So steel, cement, fertilizers, coal, electricity, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, all these are the 8 core segments of India's industrial segment. So these segments they comprise 40% of industrial production. As I have told you, we are using these 8 core segments to calculate the index of industrial production. So when these 40% of the industrial production, now this is going to slow down, that is going to bring a slowdown in India's economy as well. Next sign, this is all over in the news. Everyone is discussing this. The Minister of Finance, the Minister of Automobile sector, all these people are discussing about this. There is a slowdown in India's automobile sector. Automobile sector means the sector that deals with cars, tractors, two-wheelers. So there is a slowdown in passenger vehicle sales, tractor sales. That means agriculture is going through slowdown. Two-wheeler sales, that means middle class is not ready to buy two-wheelers, bikes, scooters. Now all these sales they have slowed down. That is another sign that there is an economic slowdown. Now Maruti Suzuki, the largest car maker of India, they had to cut the production by 25%. So when these car manufacturers they have to cut their production by 25% or by such large amounts, what happens is their plants they start shutting down. So they operate for 2 days in a week or 3 days in a week. So the laborers they lose their wages. So as a result, their purchasing capacity is also going to come down. According to Reuters, this is an international news agency, more than 3.5 lakh workers have been laid off. That means they have been fired from their jobs, they have been sent home, they have lost their jobs in automobile sector only since April. Mahindra and Mahindra they had sought government intervention to avert crisis in the sector. So this shows how automobile sector it has slowed down. Similar situation is seen in FMCG sector. This is fast moving consumer goods sector. A similar slowdown has happened in FMCG sector as well. There is a slowdown in export. The exports India is doing to other countries, there is a slowdown in these exports as well. Recently, last week, this data was released and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharamanji, she came out, she did a press conference to boost exports, to boost real estate sector because there is a slump in real estate sector as well. There is a drop in consumption expenditure on non-discretionary food items. Now, what is non-discretionary food items? That means that you cannot avoid eating things. Even if there is a slowdown, you will reduce the expenditure that is being done on food items, but you cannot eliminate the expenditure that is being done on food items. But there is a reduction in consumption expenditure on such non-discretionary items as well. For example, food items, that signs that there is a grave slowdown in India's economy. Now, consumer demand is sagging, that is coming down. Consumer demand, when it comes down, it is a very serious thing. Why? Because India is a consumption led economy and we are not an export led economy, for example, China. So, we are a consumption led economy and consumption contributes to 56% of GDP. So, when this consumption or consumer demand it starts coming down, that is a very serious thing for India's economy. Aggregate demand, that is total demand, it is not picking up despite many efforts taken by government of India. Volatility in stock market, it means that one day stock market is going up, second day it is coming down. So this is happening daily, which is not a very healthy thing for stock markets, for the investors. So there is a lot of volatility in stock market. Niti Aayog, that is a government of India's think tank, which was created after shutting down the planning commission. Niti Aayog has said that India, it is in worst crisis since independence. More signs of India's economic slowdown are that stock market, that is the share market, Sensex, Nifty, they have had its worst July in 17 years. So the month of July was so bad that there was not as bad a July for the last 17 years. Foreign portfolio investors, that means people investing in India's share market, they have taken out 12,000 crore in July alone. That means they are not very positive. The sentiment of the international investors, that is not very healthy for India's economy. So they are not desiring to invest in India's share market. Instead, they are taking back money in large amounts. This 12,000 crore, this was the steepest outflow in 9 months. The fast moving consumer goods and white goods, the fast moving consumer goods, for example, the biscuits, for example, toothbrush, or everything that you get from a grocery shop. So all this sector, FMCG sector, is also facing a slowdown. Next is white goods. What are the white goods? Refrigerators, washing machines, television sets. All these things are termed as white goods. Their sale has also slowed down. More signs of economic slowdown. I think the signs that we have discussed till now, they are enough to believe that India is genuinely going through an economic slowdown. And if steps are not taken by Government of India, by RBI, to raise investment in private sector, in public sector, to increase consumption, to increase foreign investment into India's economy. So all these steps, if they are not taken, India might get close to a recession. There are more signs of economic slowdown. That is, India surpassed UK and France to become the fifth largest economy of the world in 2017. So we overtook UK and France and we became the fifth largest economy of the world. We were the seventh largest economy. In 2017, for the first time, we became the fifth largest economy, and UK and France, they were left behind by us. But in 2018, as a result of the slowdown, India again slipped back to the seventh spot. This is the data for 2016. So US, it is the largest economy of the world. China, second largest economy. Japan, this is the second largest economy in Asia and the third largest in the world. The largest economy of Europe, that is Germany. This is the fourth largest economy. Then this is followed by UK and France. So India was in the seventh spot in 2016. So in 2017, we reached here. Let us see the size of these economies. In 2018, we came back first of all to the seventh spot. So what is the size of their economy? US, it is a $20 trillion economy. China is a $13.6 trillion economy. Japan, $5 trillion economy. Germany is $4 trillion. So you can see the difference between the second and third largest economies. So India, if it was growing at a very good pace of growth, economic growth, we could have soon started surpassing Germany and Japan as well. So the real competition in next 10 years will be between US, China and India. So as a result of economic slowdown, we came back to the 7th spot in 2018. France was 2.8 trillion, UK is also 2.8 trillion. So again, when we start growing at a good growth rate, we will again become the 5th largest economy very soon. Now, why are we calling this growth rate, this phase in India's economy a slowdown? We'll see this in this few points. GDP growth rate for the financial year 2018, it was at 5-year low of 6.8%. Right? So in 2018, 2019, Indian economy, it grew at such a low rate that it was lowest in the last 5 years. Now, quarterly growth rate. I told you what is a quarter. Quarter means a 3-monthly period. So in last few quarters, the GDP growth rate, it has constantly come down. So we will start from the first month of financial year, that is April. So we are talking about the financial year 2018-19. So April to June quarter, that is the first quarter, the GDP growth rate was 8%. So that is a very good growth rate. It came down in the next quarter to 7%, then to 6.6%, then to 5.8%, and then to 5%. Now, India is no more the fastest growing major economy of the world. India was the fastest growing major economy of the world for a few years. Now, Vietnam, China, Egypt, Indonesia, they have taken us over. They are ahead of us when it comes to the growth rate of GDP, right? So, India has set a target of becoming a $5 trillion economy by which year? This is a question for the viewers. You can write the answer in the comment section. And we have seen in the last few points that what is the size of the global economies, US, China, Japan, and what is the size of Indian economy. We have seen that as well. So we want to be a $5 trillion economy by which year and how many years do we have? This is a question for you. This video was presented by LaunchPad Education. Thank you very much for watching, and for more such videos, please subscribe to the channel of LaunchPad. In the next video, we are going to discuss the reasons we have discussed. So in the next video, we'll be discussing the causes. What are the reasons that we have come to this slowdown in India's economy? So please subscribe the channel. If this video helped you, you can like, you can give your feedback in the comments. Thank you very much for watching.